This podcast is brought to you by Infinite Resources, a local staffing agency connecting diverse job candidates in central Iowa companies.
Amplified.
All right, welcome everybody to the Amner Martinez podcast. It is the end of 2023, and I'm sitting here with Chris Noth, our business development manager for Infinite Resources, and we're gonna talk about different topics, all related to business. So if you're a business owner, small business owner, or thinking about starting a business, we might be able to help you with some basic tips. So hopefully you stick around, listen to it. We're going to get into some topics. And if you have any questions or any feedback, shoot it our way. Go to amplifydsm.com. If you want to start a podcast, shoot it our way. If you want to start your business and want a consultation or, just connect with us, and we'll be more than glad to make time for you. So if you're a business owner, or if you know somebody that's an entrepreneur or has the entrepreneur spirit, share this with them. Hopefully there's some nuggets of wisdom.
All right, Amner. So the next topic is risk-taking and the paradox of security. And so paradox, I looked it up.
All right.
A seemingly absurd or self-contradictory statement or proposition that when investigated or explained may prove to be well-founded or true. Okay, so people say they want security. We all want stability. We all want life to have some measure of predictability, right? We like structure. We like routines as people. That, however, can be a problem at a certain point. So thinking about the history of the company, your history in staffing, talk to me about this, because so much of what we're talking about with marketing and with starting a business and growing that business involves taking risks.
Yes.
But taking risks is scary.
Yeah.
So what is the young entrepreneur supposed to do? Thinking back to your experience, would you be sitting here today if it weren't for risk taking? I mean, what's an example of a time when you took a risk and it paid off, or it was the right thing to do in the long term?
Our nature is to survive and to adapt. And that security and all that routine and all those things that you were mentioning, that is what holds us back. So you have to look beyond that. You have to trust yourself beyond the security blanket that we've gotten with your job and your salary and your weekly paychecks, because you have to trust that once you take the risk, once you take that step forward, your natural instincts will kick in to survive and to adapt. And yet another one is like your creative fluids start to flow, because now you are in survival mode. Now you got to figure something out. So I guess that's kind of the only thing I have to say about that. Because I was looking for a job when this company came about too, and I think we talk about this while we were prepping up for this podcast. Is like there's a lot of ingredients that have to come together for this to kind of become, come to fruition, to become a reality. It's not only risk. And it's not only work ethic. They're ingredients and they're elements that play into it. So you have to kind of trust the universe almost, and just kind of trust and know that like you're in the right path. And have trust in yourself that once you do take the risk, leaving a job is a risk, but once you have that, then everything else will start to like unfold in front of you. And then you just gotta obviously, work hard at it, have ideas, meet the right people, tell your story, all of those little elements. So I guess at some point we'll talk about like what are the ingredients for this magic soup that need to come into play, that need to be thrown into the pot.
You became a member of the illustrious staffing industry in what year?
2003.
2003. What were you doing? How'd this happen?
Before?
Yeah.
All right. I'll tell the story. So I was...
Something about frosted tips.
So I had no path. So high school dropout. I was working odd jobs, doing a lot of drugs, bleached hair, just a lost soul, just kind of like a floating, the movie American Beauty.
Yes.
Where this guy is recording a paper bag, a grocery bag.
Plastic bag.
Yeah, and it's
you're the bag.
I'm the bag. And I was pumping gas, and then right in front of me on the other pump, a friend from high school started to pump gas. I was like, "Hey, Fernando, what's up, man? What have you been up to?" And he had a nice shirt and dress pants. He was like, I don't know, it must have been lunch because it was daylight. He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm working for a staffing agency, and I'm moving to Omaha to open a branch. And hey, they might need to replace me bilingual. They need a bilingual replacement." So that's kind of where I was like, "Bro, get me an interview." So up until that point, I was interviewing, for jobs that I thought I was qualified, right, for like more administrative, office type jobs. And I was reading like, what questions will they ask, and what's the best answer for that interview though. I was like, because I was flunking a lot of the interviews, I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna be me. And yeah, I didn't prepare for the interview. I mean, obviously
What'd you wear?
a nice shirt, nice button-up shirt, long sleeve, nice khaki shoes. So I wasn't a bum. I was just
blonde hair.
I was I was
I'm just trying to get a picture.
Yeah. So, and it was like longer too. So just yeah. So, but yeah, I went in and I just probably said the right things. They saw the potential in me, and I got an opportunity, and that's kind of how it started.
Okay, so you work as a recruiter for a period of years. You work for multiple companies around the area,
right?
And this continues until the 2010s, right? So
Right.
fast forward a decade or so, and then we come up on a kind of a turning point when you decide, you know what, I've been doing this for a long time. Maybe I want to try my own hand at this.
Right. So when in 2003 I worked for the first company, and it was a big success story in the staffing world here in Des Moines. And that's kind of where I feel like that's my, I went to school. I went to, college or something. It was a great experience. And then in 2018, I was working, or 2014, I started working for another local staffing firm. And we also built that company to a level of success. And that's kind of when I started to realize that I've helped a couple of people do it. So I felt like maybe I'm ready, maybe I'm ready to do this. And I even, my last employer, my old boss, we still talk. We talked like 3 days ago because I ran into a situation and I called him to see what he would do. So we have a great relationship. He knew that I was eventually going to do this on my own, to the point that I asked him to sell me part of his business like 2 years in, which is pretty ballsy because I had no money. It's just this crazy pipeline, mentality, or like pipe dream.
I've got $50, half a sandwich. And,
sell me your business that you started. And he was so nice, he took me serious, which he didn't have to. He was like, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk to your accountant. It was silly, So eventually I kind of just decided to put an end to it to see what happens, and that's what happened in 2018 and 2019. Early 2019 is when I kind of officially kind of like claimed that this journey started.
Gotcha. Well, there's one other thing I want to mention that's about risk taking. I initially thought this would be a separate little chapter, but this makes sense. So, you tried to launch your own staffing agency. Was that around 2013? When was Uno Staffing?
I think 2014, right before my last employer.
Okay, I see. I noticed you skipped over that part when you were telling the history. Did you not want to talk about that?
No, I can talk about it because I guess it is very important. I thought it would be like on the failures and like how to not give up. But it was, so Infinite Resources is 2.0 of what Uno Staffing was in 2013.
Okay.
In between employers, I was like, let me try this, and it just didn't work out.
So it was your own firm.
It was my own firm, one client, and it just didn't come to fruition. Many things happened. It put my marriage in danger, like it just wasn't meant to be, really. I don't know, whatever,
You took a risk.
I
It didn't
took a
work
risk.
out at that time.
Yeah, it did not work out. And you kind of learn what not to do. That was basically me learning I can't work with my wife, my dream doesn't have to be her dream. And that was a huge like breakthrough for me, because we were getting in fights because like, why, like, why don't you want to, this is good for the family. And, and then a friend of mine was like, why does your dream have to be her dream? And it clicked. So years go by, I gained more experience. I got a job in recruiting again, helped my last boss build a business. And then when I started in 2019, I knew that I needed to like a new version of what the original 2013 dream kind of was.
Anything else that you learned from that initial failure to launch?
I guess like that. And then another time when I thought I was ready to be an assistant manager a year in on my first 2003 employer. A year in, I thought I was ready to be a manager for some crazy reason, and I was mad that I didn't get it. That and that 2013 experience. Sometimes you gotta accept the fact that you're not ready and it's not time, and maybe trust people that are outside that mean well for you. Because if I would have gotten a manager role a year into that company, I would have failed. They would have set me up for failure. So I didn't get the job. On the 2013, it just sometimes you do gotta be like ready to put it aside and let it rest. Let it be, like let it breathe and let it fail. Like because when that happened, I don't remember it feeling like a failure. I was just like, almost like you hit a pause. When you get up and watching a movie, you pause it, you confidently know you're going to come back and watch it again.
And what did you lose? What did this cost you, that initial failure?
Money-wise?
Well, like in general. I mean, did it like mess up your whole life, or was it just a minor setback?
No, it didn't. No, it wasn't. I think this is the tacky thing to say, right? But failures are not failures. You do learn, and it's true. It's super tacky, but it's totally true. If you choose to look at your experiences, your fails, as an experience, as to learn what not to do, and what worked a little good and what didn't work good, then I'm wiser for that. So then in 2019, then I knew what not to do. At least the biggest part of the first failure, I knew not to do that part. So, yeah, it's true. You got to welcome failure. You got to be okay with failing. You got to be okay with mistakes. Did bad contracts. Even in 2019, I did a horrible deal that it was like $15,000 to $20,000 worth of work, and I billed them like $700. So you do
It's really
make,
nice of you.
right? But yeah, you make big mistakes. So like mistakes you should expect mistakes. You should expect bad things to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you do, because
Yeah.
if when they happen, you knew they were coming. Now you just figure out how to get past it.
And they're bad within a manageable range.
Right.
It's not something that ruins your life. It's something that it's a setback and you learn from it. But if you're too afraid to take that risk, you won't learn those things. You won't move forward.
Yeah, it's perspective. So we give the problem the size. No? Does that? So if you choose to make this situation big and overwhelming, and then that's what it'll excuse me. Sorry.
That's what it'll be.
That's what it'll be. If you choose to give this problem a volume, high volume and high intensity and high, stress levels, it'll be that. But if you choose it to be something that let me find a solution for this, and then let the solution kind of take care of it. I mean, it's hard to do, but I'm going through it right now. There's a lot of investment happening right now that, it gets nerve-wracking a little bit, so then, but you gotta breathe in and out and just kind of give it some importance, but don't let it drown you, because then that can also, you can drive yourself crazy.
Absolutely. So we've covered that initial failure. You stuck with it, and then you lived to fight another day, right? And so in the next chapter here, we're going to talk about the comeback.
The comeback.
Yeah. You like that?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.